This is Johnell Matthews, a candidate for City Court Judge. I'm number 225 on your ballot, and we're tuning in to Dominant Rolla TV.
Dominant Rolla.
What's up? This is Charlie with Dominant Rolla TV. Right now, I'm sitting here with Ms. Johnell Matthews, running for City Judge of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well today. As a matter of fact, I'm doing fabulous today.
That's great. That's great. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad you let us be a part of what you have going on and able to spread the word on our platform as well.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here and just to have this interview with you.
Yes, ma'am. So I want to get into it. So you're running for City Judge.
I'm running for City Court Judge, Baton Rouge City Court Judge, and this particular position encompasses the entire city of Baton Rouge. So if anyone lives within the city limits of Baton Rouge, then they are eligible to vote for me.
Okay.
And again, I'm Johnell Matthews, and I'm number 225 on the ballot.
Okay, so what made you want to run for City Judge?
Well, first
City
of
Court
all,
Judge.
because I'm a servant, and I love serving people. And number one, I've been practicing law for 18 years now. And prior to practicing law, I was an educator.
Okay.
And I served the East Baton Rouge Parish school system for 20 years as a teacher, and then as a supervisor of foreign languages. I taught French and English at Baton Rouge High, and then as a supervisor for the entire parish.
Okay, so let's start right here on education. So
Yeah.
how was it in the education system for 20 years?
Actually, for me, it was very good. I started young and as a teacher, and I was quickly moved up out of the classroom. And of course, I taught at Baton Rouge Magnet High School, and there was not a problem whatsoever. We actually taught the children like we were teaching them on a college level.
Okay.
That's how it was.
You said Baton Rouge High?
Baton Rouge Magnet High School. Our classes, when I first started teaching, our classes were actually 90 minutes long.
Okay.
Each class. So that means that as a teacher, I only got a planning period like 3 days a week.
Okay.
And 2 days a week, I had no planning period.
Okay.
But for me, it was just normal because that was the first school I started to work at. And, it was just the normal way of doing things.
That's a pretty advanced school to start at.
It was a very advanced school. But I already had a master's degree when I started. I had a master's degree in French from Louisiana State University. And I had served, I actually had studied abroad. I studied at the Sorbonne University in Paris, France. I spent an entire year there.
Wow.
And so when I came back to the United States, I got a master's degree, but I spoke fluent French, and they hired me almost sight unseen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you speak French fluently?
I do. I speak French fluently.
Say something.
Bonjour. Comment ça va?
Hello.
That's
all I can say.
the normal things that people will say.
Yeah.
I can go a lot further than that. Okay.
I know you took Spanish too, right?
I did take Spanish also. I had a minor in Spanish in college. But, languages, and I know Spanish, but I say that I don't speak Spanish because in order to speak a language fluently, just as I'm speaking English now, you really have to have the ability to mentally click from one language to the other.
Okay.
And I know that may sound strange, but I actually have the ability to think in the French language. So when I start speaking French, I think French.
Wow.
When I'm speaking English, I think English.
So can your husband speak French too?
No, not really. He knows some words and phrases that he's heard me say, around the house and that sort of thing. One of my daughters speaks French quite fluently, and that's because she had just an interest in it. And so, you have to have an interest in learning it, and so she does have that interest. Okay. And so she speaks. As a matter of fact, I can talk to her in French.
That's pretty cool.
And she can understand what I'm saying, and she can talk back to me as well.
So how was the jump coming from being a teacher to a principal?
Actually, it was very good because I was a teacher for about 5 years. Okay. And then I said I was moved up real quickly, and from teaching at Baton Rouge High School, I was quickly moved up to the supervisor of foreign languages for the entire parish. Okay. So now it was my job to work with teachers, place teachers, sometimes fire, but most times place them in positions and develop the teachers and to develop the foreign language program for the whole school system, K through 12. And each year we receive through the Codafil program, that's that Council on the Development of French really in Louisiana, through the Codafil program, we would get approximately 22 teachers from foreign countries every year.
Okay.
And they would come from France, from Canada, from Martinique, from Guadeloupe, and several of the African countries they'd come. And most of these teachers now didn't speak any English.
Okay.
So they spoke French or they spoke Spanish. We got some from Mexico. And the ones from Mexico usually spoke some English, but the majority of them spoke no English. The ones from Belgium, from France, from Canada.
Wow.
Canadians did speak English, but the majority of them spoke no English. And it was my job to get them settled into our community. I would help them to find cars. If they had children, I'd help their children get enrolled in school. They had to get a social security number, temporary, just everything that they needed to become acclimated to our society here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And then it was my job to place them in the elementary schools and work with the principals. And of course, I had to train them on how to teach our children. So it was a lot of in-service, a lot of treatment. And sometimes when I think back on it, I wonder, how did I do all of that?
Right.
But I did.
So, like, when I look at you, I see a lady of a lot of achievements.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so I know you, I think you graduated cum laude, I want to say?
I did. From
Yeah.
law school.
Yeah,
Yes,
from law
from
school,
law
out of
school.
all the schools.
Well, actually, I graduated cum laude from college,
Yeah.
from graduate school at LSU. I probably was a little above cum laude there.
Wow.
Because it was a degree in French. So I just made all A's, just about. And
Can we talk about that right fast? What is the key to making straight A's?
I think it's just studying. And a lot of students probably just don't believe that. But I really think it's just studying. Because my husband and I both grew up in Concordia Parish.
Okay.
So we went to small segregated schools. But they were very good schools, I must say. And coming to Southern University at the time that we came, when I first got here, it was a culture shock for me because I was coming from a small town. And I am proud to say, I'm not ashamed of the fact that I'm a first-generation college graduate.
Yeah.
So when I came to college, I really did not know exactly what to expect from college.
Yeah.
So it took me a semester or so to get acclimated to Southern University and to know what I'm supposed to be doing, to know how to study. And I always say that Southern actually saved my life. Southern University saved my life. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it had not been for Southern University.
And why do you say that?
I say that because, number one, Southern is the type of school that would accept students. If you didn't have an A average or a B average, you still could get into Southern University.
Right.
They were nurturing. They were a nurturing and caring school. So it allowed you to catch on, so to speak. Okay, so if you came and you're just like me, being a first-generation college graduate, so not knowing exactly what to do or how to study on a college level, Southern was such that the nurturing of the professors and the dorm mothers and the environment itself, it gave you that opportunity to sort of find out what you're supposed to be doing and didn't do it. So after my second semester at Southern University, I recall telling friends of mine, I was like, okay, I don't want to flunk out. So now, instead of going across campus at night, I'm going to go to the library and I'm going to study. And I started studying, and suddenly my grades were improving, everything improved.
Yeah.
And I just continued. So I think studying is the key.
That's pretty cool. It seems like flunking was never an option for you.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so, I mean, not only did you go to law school in Baton Rouge, but you also graduated and passed the bar in Mississippi as well.
Absolutely.
Why both?
Well, that has a lot to do with my husband.
Okay.
My husband is a lawyer. Johnny has been practicing law for many years. And while I was in the school system, he was an attorney. Okay. So when I passed the Louisiana bar, as soon as I graduated, I took the Louisiana bar. I passed it. And then he said, Johnell, I have all these cases, people coming to me from Mississippi. I need a lawyer who can practice in Mississippi. Yeah. And I said, well, that's great, but it won't be me.
Right.
I just took a bar exam. But he insisted that I take the bar exam in Mississippi, and lo and behold, I went and I passed.
That is awesome.
By the grace of God.
That's right. So I want to get into city court judge.
Okay.
So I seen you have a few things that you will implement into being city court judge a little differently from others,
Right.
maybe. Would you like to elaborate on some of those things?
Sure. Well, first of all, the city court is what I call the people's court.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is where real people come with real issues. Whether that's you got a fine, you've got a traffic fee, you've got a landlord-tenant dispute, you have been picked up for possession of marijuana.
Right.
You know, the city court encompasses just about everything that you can think of. There is a jurisdictional limit, though. If it's an automobile accident, that can also come to city court. But the limit on that is $35,000.
Wow.
So all of the misdemeanors would probably come to city court, and we're not sure just what those misdemeanors would be, because it could be anything. And that's why I call it the people's court, because it deals with issues, real issues,
Right.
that concerns a person's real life.
Right.
And they're looking for resolutions. I also believe in alternative sentencing. And by that, I mean on a case-by-case basis. If someone comes in, for an example, and he can't pay a fine or a fee, I would look at that situation and to see whether or not that person could do some community service.
Right.
And in that way, community service would help the person that's doing it. I do believe that serving others makes you a better person. And it would also serve someone else in the community. And we do have a lot of needs out here.
Yeah.
One other thing is that I would like to use and utilize all of the community services that we have out here, whether it's counseling services or drug rehabilitation services, mental health services.
Yeah.
And I do believe that those types of things would be useful in many circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say like fines or a fee, like some people end up going to jail for certain things like that. Like they end up getting like warrants or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, like
Well, they get a warrant if they don't go to court. You know,
Right.
The warrant is telling them that they need to come to court.
Right.
You know, but sometimes people will end up, you know, with a
Right. Yeah, some
30-day
people-
jail term.
Yeah, like so I understand what you're saying, like as far as what you're saying, like community service. Like I think that'd be something really good to implement, because not only are they paying it back with like basically helping the community,
Right.
you know, but they helping themselves as well to get out of
Exactly.
debt. So like that's a good idea. I like that.
Well, great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So
Thank
another
you.
thing you were talking about was like the paying electronically, like using technology or whatnot.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah, because I think we need to fully use technology. I think right now in some limited capacity, you can pay a fine online, but I do think that we need to develop that and just use technology fully. I don't believe that a person needs to take off from work
Right.
just to come down to the courthouse and stand in a
Exactly.
long line
Yeah.
and pay a fine or a fee.
I think-
you know, and that would free up our docket as well.
Right.
Because we can have that done online.
Yeah, I think not to cut you off or anything, but I think that's pretty good, because I think most of the time a lot of people, like I know a lot of people that may have had court
Right.
but had no way of getting there.
No
Maybe
way
they
of
didn't
getting
have
there.
a car or they didn't have a ride, but everybody got a phone.
Everybody has a
You know?
phone, yes.
You know, so I think that's pretty
Yes,
good.
yeah.
What else are you implementing?
Well, you know, domestic violence is a big thing in our society. And I certainly would do everything I can to protect any person who has been domestically abused. But I don't think it's enough to just issue a restraining order, for an example, and do nothing more. Because sometimes the restraining order becomes just a piece of paper, and the abuser goes out and continues to do what he's doing, or her. It could be a her, he or she, you know.
Right.
But, you know, we need to look into that a little bit more and see whether or not some counseling would help. See whether or not some mental health services would help out in a situation like that. You know, if you may have some other issues going on. So I think we just need to take a close look at it and protect domestic violence victims in any way that we possibly can. If we pair what we do in the court with what we have available for us in the community, for an example, housing. You may have someone who's been domestically abused, but they need housing. So the court should intervene in that as well, I think.
Right.
So that we have just a well-rounded situation, so that and we offer as much protection as possible, is what I'm saying.
Right. See, I know a lot of people, when they think of a judge, they think of someone that's so mean and slamming the hammer
right.
down or whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm just trying to put myself in someone's shoes as if I came to the courthouse.
I know what you're talking about. I think judges should be fair.
Right.
Judges should be respectful. And it's an honorable profession, just like teaching school. I've been blessed to be in honorable professions.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that being a judge, I don't see being a judge as the person who is authoritative and, throws the gavel down at every situation.
Right.
Now, I know the law. I'm a compassionate person.
Right.
But I know the law and I know how to apply it. But I do believe in being compassionate. And I do believe in looking at each case on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
And I think that if the public saw the court, the city court, as a place of fairness, as a place where they will be treated with respect and dignity, and they know that they are going to go there and they're going to get a fair shake,
Right.
then they will have more confidence in the city court, so that there won't be a fear in going. Because even if someone has done something wrong and they know that they deserve some punishment, the law is the law. They are going to say, you know what, I know I'm going to be treated fairly there in the city court. Judge Matthews is going to look at my situation and she's going to treat me fairly. That's what I want. I want everyone who comes into the city court to be treated with dignity and fairness.
Have you ever worked in a court setting?
Yes, in the sense of being a lawyer. I have worked in, I practiced law in Louisiana and in Mississippi, and in every court that you can name. As a matter of fact, the court that I'm running for City Court Judge, Division C, which encompasses the entire parish of, I'm sorry, not the parish, but the entire city of Baton Rouge. Believe it or not, it was in this very same court under Judge Wall that I've actually tried my first case.
Okay.
In the court that I'm running for right now, Judge Wall was the judge. And that's the very first case that I tried right there, which was an automobile accident.
Okay.
And I was very impressed with his demeanor and, the way that he took a lot of care and paid attention to what was going on. And I think he gave a fair judgment. That was my impression of it. I think he gave a fair judgment.
Okay.
And here I am running for the same seat.
That's
ironic.
I wish the best of luck. I love everything that you stand for. I did a lot of research on you, so I like what you stand for, your pledge and everything. If people want to do more research on their own and get to know you aside from this interview, how can they do so?
Oh, well, they can find me online through social media. You go to www.Johnell Matthews for Judge, and I believe it's the number 4. I do have a person who handles all of my social media. Okay. And so you can find me there, Johnell Matthews for Judge.
I have strong faith in what's to come for you, because
thank you very much.
Not only are you running for the city of 225, but you're number 225 on the ballot.
I'm number 225. In the city of 225, I'm number 225.
So you guys, y'all do y'all research. Check out Miss, I want to call you Judge already.
All right.
But we're going to just go ahead and claim it. Check out Judge Johnell Matthews. This is Dominant Rolla TV. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we close out?
I just think that voting is so very important. Yeah. So I'm going to ask everyone to go out and vote. If you're registered to vote, please go out and vote. This is an important election, just like all elections are. But we have so much unrest. We have so much going on in our society right now. And I don't want to get into those issues, but I know that voting ties in with everything that's going on. Yeah. And the entire city of Baton Rouge needs to just go out and vote. Find your polling place, go out and vote. And that will continue from June 20th through July 4th. And the election day is July 11th. So somewhere between June 20th and July 4th, everyone who is registered to vote should cast a vote.
That's right.
And I'm asking for your vote. I hope that I can earn your vote. Again, I'm number 225. And that's for the City Court of Baton Rouge.
You guys go ahead and vote. Get out there and go vote.
And I thank you so much for having
No
me.
problem. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, so you know the name of the show is Dominant Roller TV?
Yes,
So I know you're familiar with what dominant means.
absolutely.
Okay, so I want to ask you what makes you dominant?
Okay. What makes me dominant? That's an excellent question. As a candidate for city court judge, I have 18 years of experience in law in 2 states, in Louisiana and in Mississippi. And I have practiced in every court that you can name, from the city courts to the district courts to all the way up to the appellate courts and the Supreme Courts in both states, Louisiana and Mississippi. In addition to that, I have 20 years of service in the East Baton Rouge Parish School System. And no other candidate that's running has 20 years of experience in the East Baton Rouge Parish School System.
Oh, wow.
And I have worked with parents, teachers, students, other administrators, principals, superintendents, community leaders. I have just that much experience. So I have a lot to give. So that makes me dominant. I have the people skills and I have the legal skills that are needed to make an excellent city court judge.